Again, Muli, and this is Citizen Weekend. We invite you to send in your questions, your comments using 22422 or using the hashtag Citizen Weekend. There's been a lot of political talk lately, and today we decided to do things a little bit differently. Tonight, I want to introduce a very brave gentleman to you. His name is David Etale. David, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, and just to give you a little bit of a summary, Dave Etale is a former football player. He played here locally and abroad in the United Kingdom. He then joined the British Army, where he served for a couple of years before he lost his leg in the war in Afghanistan. Tonight, David is here with us to share his story. David, this is not my story, this is your story. So let's begin with your upbringing. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Huruma. Then a few years later, we moved to Maringo Estate. So when I moved down there, that's where my passion for football began. And football just took to another level when we went there because everyone was playing football. So from there, my dad was a construction worker. So everywhere, as soon as he got promoted, we would move to a different area. So I stayed in there for the rest of my teenagehood. And then he got another promotion and we moved to Westlands into poster houses. So since then, my love for football has I've never looked back. So
which teams did you play for here locally?
I played for Waterworks, and then I played for Kangemi United, and then I played for Kenya Commercial Bank in the Premier League, and then I played for Tusker Football Club. Yeah.
I noticed your accent is heavily laced. The British in you is coming out. So let's talk about your transition to the United Kingdom. When did that happen, and why did you choose to leave Kenya for the UK?
I decided to leave Kenya because of the challenges that we were facing as footballers back then. So back then, we never used to have a good salary that you could either do something to progress yourself in life. So I got the opportunity to leave Kenya, sorry, and head to the United Kingdom, which any other person would have got this opportunity would have left, you know. And I think for me, I don't regret anything that I did to leave Kenya to go there for greener pastures. Yeah. So
you moved to the UK. Did you play football there as well?
I played for a local team down there, which is like in the nationwide league when I was still serving.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the British Army and how that decision came about. Here you are, a young Kenyan in the United Kingdom who is now considering joining the British Army. How did that decision come about?
Actually, when I was here, when I was playing for Tusker, I used to be a matatu driver part-time for Route 23.
That's Buru?
No. That's Westlands Kangemi.
Oh God, okay. Forgive me. I know people will not forgive me for that.
Yeah, you've that.
Yeah, I just did that.
Yes.
Okay, let's proceed.
Yeah. So there was one of my friends who was a CID. His name is George, and he came up to me one day and he said to me, "Would you like to join the British Army?" Because his cousin had apparently joined the British Army through online, and that's exactly what I did. And within 1 week, I just found myself in the UK after applying. Yeah.
And at what point were you then, what is the word, directed or moved to Afghanistan for the war? Because I understand that it was while you were in Afghanistan that you suffered the unfortunate accident you were involved in.
Yes, so that was between 2009, 2010. That's when we deployed to Afghanistan after I completed my training, after doing a number of trainings here in Kenya, because we used to come down here and train in Samburu. And it was when I actually deployed to Afghanistan, the person who trained me to join the army, he was kind of my father figure and my mentor. So when we went there, I was really panicking because I knew it wasn't just going to be a case of going and coming back.
How old were you?
When I left for Afghanistan, I was about 26. Yeah. So that was the age that I was when I went to Afghanistan.
Then what happened?
Then when we were down there, it was pretty hostile. Everything that we were doing was high-paced. We were there as peacekeeping. And just one morning, one morning, one of our bosses came and said to us, we are changing the tactics a little bit. We are going to go into a different area. So that previous night, I couldn't sleep. So I got up my Bible about 3 a.m. in the morning, and I read up to about 5. And then it was about 6 a.m. when we were about to leave. So one of my friends came up to me and said to me, David, did you ever think yourself in this position? You played for Kenya Commercial Bank. You played for Tusker in the Premier League. How do you feel about it? But I didn't realize why he was asking me that, because after a while, he came and said to me, don't panic. He could see the panic in my face.
This was your first real encounter in a war zone.
Yes. And it was pretty hostile. So we left for patrol. The whole day was quiet up to about 6:30 in the evening when we got ambushed by the Taliban. So when we got ambushed, we tried to return some rounds to them, but they were just too strong for us. So we had to call in Americans to come and help us. So they came and did so. And then my boss just told me it's time for us to extract. So about 50 meters from where we were, I drove over something called an improvised explosive device. So when it went off, I can't remember anything else apart from finding myself in the UK in hospital. So you drove over this device, and the next thing you remember, you woke up in a UK hospital in London. Yes.
Let's talk about your waking up, trying to recollect, you know, just that confusion, going back to, in your mind, the last time you were awake, you were in Afghanistan, and now you're in a hospital bed. At what point did you know that you had sustained injuries, and how and to what extent you had been injured?
To be honest, because when I woke up, I started fighting with the nurses, because my mind, I was still thinking that I'm in Afghanistan, and I was still thinking that I'm in the war zone. So the first thing I did, I was looking for my weapon. But I kept on fighting for like about 20 minutes until when they reassured me that I'm in hospital and I'm badly injured. And that's when I realized when I was trying to move, my body was not the same anymore. That's when I knew that I have serious injuries. Yeah.
And David walks with a prosthetic limb. At what point did the doctors now tell you that they were going to have to amputate? Did they do it immediately? And what was your reaction to that news?
They actually didn't do it immediately. They tried to save my leg, so I had numerous of surgeries. But it got to a point whereby they just told me, you know what, your leg is not going to be the same anymore. You've only got one option on the table, and that was to take it off. And they said to me, you either keep your leg, stay on a wheelchair for life, or get rid of it, and then you'll have a life, we'll give you a prosthetic leg, and you'll be able to move on with your life. So
your reaction to this, what's going through your mind at this point? Who is your support system?
Because of the pain that I was in, I didn't actually think a lot, but just to move on with everything that they were saying to me, because they were professionals, they knew what they were doing. And I was not the only one. I had so many friends who were in the same particular position, and they just had to make the decision. So I saw them as much as they were progressing in life, and I thought to myself, why not? Because if my friend is moving on with his life brilliantly, let me just do it.
And at this point, you're so far away from home. Who is your support system? Who is walking you through this pain, this news, this trauma? Who's walking you through all of this?
You know, back there is quite different from the army here. Back there, you get people who are located to you. They look after you. We've got psychiatrists. So by then, I developed something called war post-traumatic stress disorder, where I kept on thinking of the bad things that happened to my friends when I was there. So this actually led me to a very, very bad place where I nearly committed suicide twice.
After being discharged from hospital?
Yes. After being discharged from hospital, yes.
What did you want to do to yourself?
I just wanted to get rid of myself. I felt like I have no purpose in life, because that's what the mind is telling you. You know, PTSD is something really, really bad because it plays with your mind. If you've had a trauma or you've had challenges in life, you end up getting into depression. Depression gets into PTSD. And if you don't seek medical advice really quick, then that means you won't be in a good place. So that was my problem. Yeah.
What stopped you? You say you tried twice.
Yeah.
What stopped you from doing it?
My daughter.
Your daughter?
Yes. My daughter is the one who made me think really hard about my actions, because she was someone who was 7 years old at that time, and if she could see what I was going through and the assurance she was giving me at that age, I said to myself, my mom and my dad took care of me up to where they knew I can live with my life. So I said to myself, why can't I do it for my daughter as well? And that really hit me really hard, that I had to quickly change real quick, because you know, any bad situation you find yourself in, no one will ever come and tell you to do something about it. It has to start with you. So I took the initiative of saying it has to start with me for me to have a better life and to live my life in a positive way.
I see a lot of people taking photos with you, David, your fans, your friends from back here at home. You deliberately choose to wear shorts. I see you in shorts in a lot of the pictures, meaning you don't hide the fact that you have this prosthetic limb. Was that prosthetic leg? Is that intentional on your part, the way you dressed, the fact that you openly show people that you're wearing a prosthetic leg?
Yes, it's my choice. I said to myself, I never wear trousers. Even when I go to work, I don't wear trousers. I wear shorts because this is my leg. It's part of me now. I don't have to hide it. Why should I hide it? I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of what I have. And I'm proud of my leg. That's why I wear shorts. And I wear shorts for a reason as well. Because you'll get people who look at you in a different way. You'll get people who will come and ask you questions about your leg. And you know, if I tell you, since I came to Kenya, I've had so many people who say to me how much courage I've given them because of why I'm wearing shorts and showing off my prosthetic leg. And there's no better feeling than that. If you know you're doing something positive for someone else to change their mentality or how to live their life, I believe that's the best gift you can give people out there.
Did some of your relations get affected by your situation? Did you lose people along the way? Were there people, perhaps even loved ones, perhaps even a lover, a friend? Did you lose people along the way because of the situation that you found yourself in?
No, I didn't lose. I haven't lost anyone during this situation, because you'll always, you know, in life you'll always grow and have friends. There is some who will grow with you. There are some who want to remain in the same position, but yourself you'd want to move a step higher. So I believe I haven't lost anyone that I can say that I lost friends because of my situation, because I've been quite fortunate that my friends have been really supportive, and they've looked at me, they haven't looked at me in any different way. They've looked at me now as someone who inspires and motivates people out there. Right. Which is a good feeling. Are you still doing the things that you loved to do? You're a fairly young guy. How old are you now? Right now I'm 31. You're 31, so yeah, fairly young. You know, people your age usually like to party, like to hang out. Are you, has this new you changed in any way the things that you used to love doing? Have you taken a back seat and perhaps changed the things that you used to do before? Are you still the same David? I'm still the same. I still do the same things. The only things that I can do is play football, because I had a massive passion for football, and that's the only thing that I can't play, because I used to be left dominant, and that's my leg that I don't have anymore. And I still have the passion. I still watch football. I still support football. What's your team? I know you might get lynched for that, but what's your favorite team? I hope it's not Arsenal. Man United. Okay. Yeah. That's my team. Okay, somebody's saying yay on my earpiece. Okay. So, I mean, and for people who are watching, David, people who perhaps have gone through challenges in life, and are probably in that space where they ask themselves, why me? Yeah. How did you get over the why me? You know, in life, I came to realize one thing. No matter who you are, whether rich, poor, middle class, there's some things that will never change in life, and that is problems, pain, and challenges. These are things that yourself, as a human being, it has to build in yourself that you have to make sure that you don't let them get into you. Because once you do that, if you let them get into you, you'll develop a very negative attitude towards things. You'll develop a negative attitude towards people. So for me, what I decided to do is, it's like people ask me, who motivates you? And I say to them, I don't look up to anyone. I look up to myself. So I motivate myself every single day to make sure that each day that passes by, I leave a positive energy, or I live my life in a positive attitude for me to be successful in life.
And I've seen you giving talks across, not just in Kenya, across the world, but even here in Kenya. I see you talking to school kids. I've seen you mentoring the youth as well. What questions do they direct towards you, and what is your message at the end of the day to people when you speak in these forums? What is the message? What do you want the take home to be for them?
I always tell kids, like all the motivation talks that I've done in Kenya, I always tell them that they should believe in themselves, that one day they will be great. Once you instill something strong in you that you're going to be great, you will be great. Once you start doubting yourself that you won't be great in life, you won't be great in life. So I tell them that, because you find in life, we'll definitely fail. I've failed a few times. I've failed to an extent whereby people have said I can't do something, but I prove them wrong, because failing and success, they're two things together. They go together. So you have to fail to get successful. There's no shortcut about it.
So are you based back home? Are you based here now? What's your story? What are you doing? You're no longer in the army. What are you doing? How do you earn a living?
So the army take care of me for the rest of my life. So I'm quite fortunate. I'm in that position. So I do motivation speaking. And I came to Kenya for one reason. This is my home country. I was born here. So I said to myself, because I'm doing motivation speaking in the UK, why can't I come and do it into my country where I was born? So I find it very, I'm quite honored with everything that I've done during my short time here. And my main aim now is to open a foundation, David Etale Foundation, where I'm going to start working with the kids with disabilities, just to make sure that they also have a future, because you having a disability doesn't mean that you can't do anything in life. You having a disability doesn't say that you can't be successful in life. So the kids who've been locked away by their parents, I want them to come up that shell, because they've got talent too.
But can you communicate our language now? You've lived in the UK such a long time, David. And from your upbringing, when do you still speak that language? Can you actually reach out to all demographics right here within Kenya if you needed to communicate this very powerful story to persons who have perhaps gone through the same thing as you have, but may not be as elite?
Yes, simi ongea Kiswahili.
Oh, okay. I wanted to be sure.
In fact, when I went to Green Gardens, when I was speaking to the Standard 8 kids, niliongea na Kiswahili. So niliongelesha kila kitu na Kiswahili.
Ukawaambiaje?
Si nikawaambia tu juu ya life. Wasiwahi give up kwa life. Mtu wasiwahi kuja kuambia wawezi fanya kitu kwa life. Never ever allow anyone to tell you that you can't do anything in life, kwa sababu hiyo ni uongo. Anyone who's a human being in this life has a talent within themselves. Ni wewe mwenyewe kutafuta hiyo talent na kuiexplore huko nje.
We thank you so much for taking time to speak to us, David Etale. I really wanted, and the thing is, I've never met you, but I was following your story from my profile on Instagram, just seeing how people react to you, how people take photos with you, how people are so excited to be associated with you. And then I read up your story and I got to find out what you had gone through, and I thought it was an amazing story that you were sharing out there just to uplift people. We thank you so much and we celebrate you, and we wish you all the very best. So as we close this interview, for that person who is going through a challenge, whatever it is that they're facing right now, who feels extremely alone and who feels like they cannot possibly get over this, who is at that point of losing hope, as we close this interview, David, what would you like to say to that person?
The person who's sitting somewhere thinking that they feel that they've lost hope, one thing I would tell them is, because people go through different things in life, my journey might be different from someone else, but one thing I came to realize is, one, love yourself. Accept the situation that you're going through. Once you accept anything that you're going through, your mind, you'll find ways on how to turn whatever you're going through from something negative to something positive. And once you do that, the emotions of you being positive every time will creep into your mind. Because we have the tendency of, if we see someone going through different challenges, we try and feel sympathy for them. Don't ever allow anyone to feel sympathy for you in life. Because if you allow someone to feel sympathy for you, you're creating something very bad in you, which is negativity. Don't ever allow that. So anyone who's at home and is watching this, I would tell them, accept your situation and remember this. You've only got one life. And the life that you have now, if you don't make use of it now, you'll never make use of it. The time that's going right now will never come back. So you better make use of it. Try and see yourself, accept the situation, and ask yourself, I'm in this world for a purpose. And that's for you to be great.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. We're talking to David Etale. Remember, you can look him up on social media if you want to engage with him or forward any questions or comments that you have. I'll be reading out your comments at the end of Citizen Weekend. We're back with a day's sports very shortly. Stay tuned.